Welcome back to the channel. Up next, we have an eclectic mix of relics from mankind to share with you. These are more personal objects. Some of these are for sale, but most of them, I believe, are not. If there's anything you must have that's screaming your name, let me know. Maybe I want to make you happy. So let's just jump on in. Let's just start with this. This is right in front of me. What is this? Part of the eclectic mix. This is a very collectible toy. This is a rubber Batman. These are called jigglers. That's the colloquial or the collector's name. Rubber jigglers because they're made of rubber and they jiggle. These are kind of like the action figures before, articulated action figures. I kind of had, this is like my guilty pleasure of these things. I love antique, but this is vintage, and I just love these things. They're just ugly as sin, and they're crude. I love rubber toys. I love rubber material, and this kind of checks the boxes. I love Batman. If I was to be one superhero, Batman, because he doesn't have a superpower. He just uses his brain and his cunning. And he's also, strong too. Nonetheless, this is a Ben Cooper, as you can see right there, made in Hong Kong with pride. 1973 National Periodical Publication Inc. I never know. This always puzzled me why this is on there, that verbiage. But when I was a kid, I ran across one of these at an antique store, and it was vintage back then, and I was like, what the heck? I have a few of these, by the way. Again, my guilty pleasure, these vintage jigglers, and they can cost a lot of money. I mean, if you don't know these things, you'd be like, what, EJ, what? No, these can be quite, I'm not sure if valuable is the right word, but collectible, and then the money follows, right? This, what's it worth? This could be worth $30 on a good day. I have a tagged one. They came on a little elastic band, the Ben Cooper tag. I have a complete one or two. And they have, this kind of reminds me of a catfish for some reason. Some of these have like these little rubber things sticking out there. Just, I don't know. Pardon the hot rod passing by. But this thing is just awesome. The hand-painted crudeness, again, made with pride in Hong Kong. I'm sure the person was smoking a cigarette while they did this. I've been to Hong Kong a lot, and chain smoking is in, or was in. So that's a Batman jiggler from 1973. I love that thing. Let's just move just to the east. This is a shovel. Not just any old shovel. This is a J&J railroad coal shovel, folks. Look at the patina on this thing. This thing is gorgeous. I dig these out of barns and antique stores and yard sales and flea markets, and anywhere I can find these, I get them. Because they're a valuable piece of American railroad history. And they're worth a lot more than you may think. I sell these for over $100 easily. This one's on my eBay store right now. J&J was a iron producing company. It's all written up on my eBay listing. But the key to shovels are the maker's mark. They're always in here somewhere. You gotta really get your eye tuned into this. These little snippets of information that's key to the collectors. And then, of course, when you have these stamps, it makes it a lot easier. And this one was done backwards from that stamp. But this is J&J. And again, this just feels smooth from just being used. And again, these are quite valuable. If you resell, shovels can be a nice thing, and they kind of fly under the radar because folks assume, it's a shovel. But no, people collect these and they spend legitimate money on these things. I've sold a few that have better patinas that just look like a museum piece, like a nice maple syrup kind of coating look to it, but it's just sweat, a little bit of blood, some tears. to make this great aesthetic on these shovels. This is a nice one. This is one of my, I have a few in my eBay store right now. This is for sale. I can let shovels go. They don't hold a spot in my heart, fortunately, because I gotta pay the bills. And if I hold on to everything, I can't feed the kids. So this is for sale right now. Let's just keep going east while we're at it. And this is a Japanese-made Fender jazz bass. This is my main axe. I'm a bass player. I played professionally full-time for over 20 years, and I still play, but I just don't travel around like I used to. I got this thing from a Japanese music store called Ishibashi when I was living over in Shanghai, China. This is a great one. This is actually a I've featured this before, and I've played this a ton. You can hear me playing this thing. But this is in the garage, so I thought I would feature it. This is not a like a catalog model. This is a special order, which means it costs more and it sounds better. It's made of, I believe this is alder, I believe the wood is, and it's just got this gorgeous neck, just more detail, just finely put together. I've done a few modifications to it, but this thing just feels so good. If you know basses, jazz basses are classic. This is a 68 reissue. Faithfully copied off the American, models from the 60s. That's like a old strap holder. You don't see that anymore. Crafted in Japan. This is, I believe this one is early 90s or mid 90s. It's vintage now. You know what I mean? People think vintage is like 50s, 60s. No, this is a vintage instrument. I'm pretty rough on instruments because I believe they're meant to be played. When I got this thing was mint, and now it's all kind of scuffed up, but that doesn't bug me at all. I think it makes it look cooler, and it lets me focus on the music more and not worry about, scratching up a bass guitar at all. So this thing is great. I played this a lot. I want to play this more once I get some things out of the way, but that's the Fender jazz bass. I love it. Jazz basses are just so unique sounding. Let's look at this. This I bought from a barn a couple weeks ago. I'm really focused on art right now, and art of all types. You can't just say art. There's all kinds of art. This is like a souvenir piece. It's not naive. It's a souvenir piece done by a known artist from Acapulco, I believe, named Ruben Gary. And I bought this actually on a whim. I have two of these. I gave one to my daughter, and this one's for sale on eBay. I bought these. They're like $1 each, and I was like, "Oh, these are cute." And I like small paintings. I believe this is to be oil on board. It's nicely done, right? Nice tropical setting. And I mean, when a painting's $1, I don't even bother to research the artist. I just buy it, right? And when I got home, I'm like, well, let me research this. And this person is actually a known artist, and their stuff does sell on eBay. There's a lot of these on eBay right now. Each one's unique in its own sweet way. So I was pleasantly surprised when I realized, oh wait, this is an actual artist, a known artist. And the frame is nice and cute. Sometimes I like the back of the art better than the front of the art. It's more, I don't know what the word is for the back of the art, the reverse side. But it's like a hidden world back here. You know what I mean? These hidden tacks and nails, and sometimes there's stamps and little notes. It's like a secret world that shouldn't be seen. And this is like the opposite. This is like the face to the world. But this is great. About the size of a postcard. This is for sale right now in my eBay store. So if you gotta have this, it can be yours. I think it's like $25. 1981. And this frame. Sometimes the frames can be more important than the art in some ways, or just as important. And I love this little frame. But this is it. So this is like a souvenir piece someone would take home with them back to Paynesville, Ohio, after going to the tropical Acapulco. I believe this is Acapulco. Yeah, it's oil. Yep. Isn't that cool? So that's that. That's for still right now. That stays on my wall in the house, and then once it's sold, it's removed, and I have a blank spot in the house for art that I quickly replace with something else. Let's look at this. Skulls. I love bones and skulls. I have a show called The Oldest Bone That I Own. Something about bones. I've always collected them since a kid. Dinosaur bones or anything I could find. It just fascinates me. The design and the form and the function of different animals and us humans, dinosaurs and ice age animals. Excuse me. So this is a river otter. I found this at an antique mall. I've been looking for a river otter, and I finally found it. And this is gorgeous. The bone feels quite dense, and it resembles a black bear. If you were to see a black bear skull, it looks just like this, but larger. Something about that. Something about design and nature, form and function. The jaw hinge I want to draw this, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I really like this otter skull for some reason. I'm drawn to this, and it stays in my antique shop next to me, maybe as a memento mori, a reminder that life is fleeting. I don't know. But it's a good segue to bring this in. This is a mink skull, which looks just like a river otter skull. You could almost think, oh, this is a baby river otter, but no, this is a mink skull. So again, that design, nature was like, this is it for these mammals that kind of have similar lifestyles in some ways. The way their eyes are positioned allows them to go underwater and surface and to be able to see. The jaw, the mandible, a lot more that I'm probably not even aware of. But just kind of uncanny. Two different animals with the same skull, right? This was from Etsy. And this, again, was from an antique mall. Etsy's got a lot of bones for sale. A lot of arts and craft folk get their bones from Etsy. And there's a lot of sellers that dedicate their shops to bones. And this is I've been looking for to segue to this guy, I've been looking for a goat skull for a while. My Chinese zodiac sign is goat. All the males in my family were goats. Just the way it is, our Chinese zodiac sign. And I've been looking for one, and I got this one for a good price. This is a pygmy goat. And when I got it, it was a lot darker, but just a little insider tip. If you soak bones in hydrogen peroxide, it whitens them quite quickly. Just don't leave them in for too long. Maybe like an hour or two, and they go from being like a dark brown gray to this pretty quick. Just hydrogen peroxide. But this is a pygmy goat, which is great. I don't have a lot of shelf space, so the pygmy goat is just awesome. And this is just an amazing thing to look at. It's quite light. I thought it'd be heavier, but no, it doesn't feel. Now these would have a covering that I forget what it's called, but that covering, the black like fingernail material, kind of looks sinister. Poor goat. I love goats. I want a pet goat. That's on the bucket list. But until then, I have a goat skull minus the mandible. These things, I don't know, they've always got the satanic symbolism, and they're just goats. What's the reasoning behind that? Well, they got horns, like a devil-looking thing. I kind of want to put a candle on this thing and melt it and have this as next to my study. A candle, like that's got that satanic vibe. I'm not a Satanist, but just that symbolism, right? How about that? So that's a pygmy goat. And while we're at it, might as well just get this elephant out of the room. I've featured this before. This is a squirrel monkey. skull that I acquired on eBay. I wasn't even aware you could buy monkey skulls on eBay until I bought this one. And it was like $100. This crosses a couple collector points with me because it's a monkey skull that I don't have, and now I do. And it's also an antique, like scientific specimen. This is probably like in a college. You can tell by the spring and the tarn, like the patina. It's probably from the 20s or 30s, 40s. And, colleges update their collections and they sell them, and I buy them. But this is quite interesting. I did a show about this, about monkey evolution for some reason. I just got kind of caught up in that. And it's quite interesting, because I do have a human skull. Actually, I have two. The one on my neck, and I acquired one from an art gallery a few years back. So to compare a primate skull to a human being skull is quite a heavy experience. So yeah, this is a monkey skull. Can you believe that? There you have it. Something to ponder, right? Put these guys over here carefully. All right, let's move along here. Let's look at this. Who knows what this is? This is a relic of the 90s, right? Ren and Stimpy, Nickelodeon. I was just old enough or young enough to catch this. I was 12 in 1992. So becoming a teenager, this bizarre show caught my attention and I watched it. Because it's so weird and so disgusting and funny. And the art animation was quite unique. And this is a relic of that era. This is Ren Hoek. I think it's a Chihuahua, stressed out. And this is for sale on my eBay store. I found this at a flea market. These things are becoming more and more collectible as folks from this time period age and yearn for their childhood. The bills pile up, car notes, divorce, your dog dies, you name it. And then they want to get back to happier, simpler times, and this guy can bring you there, right? This is a great plush. It's kind of got some kind of internal structure, and I'm not sure. I see these in the box, like new in the box condition. But this guy is affordable. This is under $20 in my store right now. It's gonna be yours. Ren and Stimpy, man, what a show that was. That was something else. Let's shift gears, shall we? Look at this. This is my obsession right now. These are retablos. I've been featuring these on my channel. These just transcend what they are. What is this? A retablo is a personal, sacred painting of usually Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, or saints or angels. This is the Holy Family, the Virgin Mary, Joseph, and the young Jesus Christ. That's the dove is the Holy Spirit. This is amazing. I love this. It's like 6x8. This is a smaller retablo. Retablo is Spanish it means like behind the altar. It's derived from Latin, like retro altar. This frame is gorgeous. This gilded wooden frame. I love the frame too. This is just complete package. Just speaks to me. And that gaze of the young Christ is just amazing. I love their sandals. Just everything about this. This could be Red Bull Group. Not to get down to too big of a rabbit hole, but Red Bull Group was a mysterious group of painters. These are all unsigned. But Red Bull Group, from deciphering through various academic studies, was a group of painters that studied under the same master, and they can decipher that by certain attributes of the design and the tone. Red Bull means it's kind of like a red clay they would prime these tin plates with before they paint it, which gives a warm effect to the painting. I love this. It's painted on tin because tin was cheap and readily available in the 1850s throughout Mexico. These were sold as personal devotion objects. You would put this in your home and your little altar and pray to this. This is amazing. I love this. this transcends what it is, in my opinion. It's more than just a painting. It's something else. And this is quite affordable. I've been buying these from a California dealer for a really good deal. I speculate that these will go up in value simply because they're not making any more of these. And you mix, religion with art and antique history, and then you might have something worth some money. And I believe in the future, if I decide to resell these or pass these down to my kids, they'll be worth quite a bit more than what I paid for it. But this hangs in my bedroom. I love these. I shine a light on them and it catches, and boom. These are the frames were designed to catch candlelight, being from the 19th century. They stopped making these around 1910. The earliest ones could be from the late 1700s, but basically the 1800s. And again, I've seen a few of these out in the wild in Ohio, and I didn't pull the trigger, sadly, but on eBay, if you have to have one of these, you can find the one you like, and depending upon how much you want to pay, you can either just buy it now or wait and find one in your price range. But again, this was great. I love this one. This one was around $100. I believe it's worth quite a bit more than that, but I'm not selling this. So let's segue to this, from angels and saints and Christ, the devil, El Diablo. I made this. This is my Fugio devil. I was possessed back in 2024. I spent like half the summer making these things in the hot sun. No one knew why, including myself. I'm selling not this big one. This is like my model. But these small ones are for sale in my Etsy store, Americana by Eugene. I don't think I have these in my eBay store, Vintage Classic Solutions. They should be, though. Fugio Devil. So this is full of symbolism. These are also prepared. These have a battery inside. The battery is rice and beans, which makes this spiritually alive. This is not a satanic worship object. I guess if you want it to be, it could be, but this is a reminder, almost a memento mori, that time is flying, right? Fugio means I fly, or I flee. The clock and the devil, this is paper mache, and I painted it, and this is like a rice sack and goat skin cap, feather, and this is some kind of goat fur for his goatee. But these, I have a few of these. I think I made like 12 of these. These are for sale right now. You gotta have one of those, let me know. Those are in my Etsy store. This is the biggest one. This is my first one, my model. And what happened was, I made this and I was like, oh wow, I kind of like this. And then I couldn't find any more of the size paper mache, bowling pin shaped thing. But I found those small ones. So I just made a bunch of the small ones. I've sold, I know for sure, one. They're not moving as fast as I'd like, but that's okay. I think, being an artist and musician, I think folk artists really have it made. Because a musician, you have to make money, you have to travel, and travel a lot. And that may sound romantic, but the older you get and you have a family and bills and kids, it's a pain in the ass. Traveling's a pain in the ass. There are road dogs out there that travel all the time. God bless them. They're the ones that bring you live music in your town, big or small. But traveling with instruments is stressful. Shitty hotels, your roommate's socks stink. You gotta eat like lousy not street food, but like truck stop food, and being on planes sucks. Buses, and hurrying to get to places, and sound checks and stuff. So folk artists can just sit in their workshop at home, sip their coffee, listen to WC, and just create. And then the people come to you and they give you money in exchange for your objects. And you don't have to leave it or go anywhere. You just sit back and create, and the money comes to you. And once you have that money, if you choose to travel, well, then it's on your own will, your own time, your own stipulations, as opposed to having to appease the concert promoter, if that makes sense. So So these are my Fugio doubles. They're audible and a visual reminder that time is flying. This is full of rice and beans. It's prepared. All hand painted. This is like wax. It's like a three-dimensional kind of vibe. So that's that. Well, what about this? This I found out in the stream. A couple years ago, I found a little, what I believe to be a Native American campsite very close to my house. This is in a stream, and when this is wet, it looks a lot more obvious. But I believe this to be like a workspace, a worktop from a Native American, maybe from like the 1700s or 17th century, possibly 16th or 15th century. So we're talking like, 1500s, 1600s. The last Native Americans in my area of Northeast Ohio was, I think, around like 1640. And then Europeans came in and screwed it up. But this has these 3 grooves that are very, very, very smooth. Extremely smooth. 1, 2, 3. And then it has these dimples. And I believe that's the important side of this. And when it's wet, it's way more obvious. It's like a runway, and it's extremely smooth here, and everywhere else it's like sandpaper. And when I found this, I did like a little YouTube short saying, is this an artifact or a rock? And everyone was like, oh my God, this is an artifact, which kind of helped me reinforce, I'm onto something. And I've discovered other artifacts within the area. So I think it's a campsite. In the summer, Native Americans would come up here and camp and hunt, and then get the hell out when it was cold winter, go down south or whatever. But you can see these grooves. I believe this to be from a human hand, from a human design. 1, 2, 3. And when it's wet, it's way more obvious. I should have got this wet, but I have too much precious stuff around me to kind of get water involved. So this is like a punch for punching something, leather work possibly, deer hide. And this is, again, to process something. What? Maybe we'll never know. But this is quite amazing, and it's very, very smooth. And there's 3 distinct runways or just workspaces. You can see, and again, when it's wet, it's very, very, very obvious. This is found in a stream. So that's that. I'm calling this like a Native American workspace, like a processing table. Probably processing deer hide, because we have a lot of white-tailed deer. A lot in this area. All right, let's move along. Let's look at these. These I found a couple days ago at a thrift store. They're humanoid-shaped candles, man and woman. I thought it was like an Adam and Eve thing, but it turns out there's an interesting story to these. These are like, not voodoo candles, but they're designed, you burn these to rid yourself of your enemy or your opponent or whoever's bugging you. So like the story is you will put this like near your front door or on your front porch or window, and you have it facing away from your home, and you light it, and that's supposed to remove the person that's bugging you or causing you stress or grief away from your life and house. It's a male and female. These are on, you can find these things on eBay and Etsy. These may have a specific name. I forget like the specific name, but it's to rid yourself of who's ever causing you distress. You might have to give that a try, right? And they're just, I like candles. Something about candles I like. I don't know, maybe it's to do with the fact that like when I was a kid, Halloween candles, I love Halloween, and candles kind of like, it's not a toy and it's not a decoration, but it's a decoration you can kind of play with. I don't know, I like the sound of them. So that's what those are. A little bit more to it than I thought. Moving along, let's see here. Let's talk about these 2 objects. Right now I have another obsession with Our Lady of Guadalupe. So this is a rendering of this. This is the tilma. Long story short, the Virgin Mary appeared to Juan Diego in the year 1531, in Mexico on a hill. And he was a native of Mexico, and she appeared to him, asked him to ask the bishop to build a church in her honor. He did so. The bishop didn't believe him, and then he went back. She reappeared and told him to go back to the bishop. And when he did, this image was on his tilma, which is kind of like a poncho made of cactus fiber. And also within his poncho or tilma, there was these roses that were not native to Mexico. And when the bishop saw that, he knew those roses because they were from like his hometown in Spain. And he kind of like saw the light, and then therefore he built the church, and the rest is history. So this is an actual copy of the tilma, which is still survived, and you can see it in Mexico. I really would love to see it, and it shouldn't survive because the fiber is made of cactus fiber, which deteriorates, so it should last 20 years, not 500 years. So it's a miracle of science and spirituality. I've got this is a piece called a Cuadro Rustico. These are from Mexico. It's like a rustic frame. This is done on masonite, which is kind of like a processed cardboard or ultra processed cardboard. I just love her gaze, and she's wearing that clasp. I got a tattoo of that tiny little cross on my chest as an homage to her. There's a lot of symbolism in this that I don't want to get involved in right now because it's a huge rabbit hole, and I'm still learning about it. But this is her, the Virgin Mary, as she appears on the tilma, and this is a folk artist rendition that I purchased from eBay. I got this for a very, very good deal. I believe this is worth a lot more than what I paid for it. This is amazing. This is called a bulto, which is a three-dimensional carved shrine. And this is probably from, 1930s through the 60s. It's not antique yet. This is vintage. This is quite spectacular. It's about 3 feet tall. It's made of, I think, pine. It's a soft wood. And it's all hand-done, hand-carved. And this is not a piece that was sold as a souvenir. Like, this wasn't in the airport or a bus station. This is an actual shrine that someone put in their house and prayed to. It hung on the wall, this crude twine, and it's got wear in the right spots. It's everything you want to see. There's no stamp, there's no barcode or whatever. This is the real deal. It's quite charming, and I love folk art. And I hate to say the word ugly, but with folk art, it's kind of got this cognitive dissonance to it. It's three-dimensional. It's a shrine. And what I mean by that is, folk art is kind of ugly, but the beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. And I hate to say the word ugly, because I think this is gorgeous. But you get my point, right? This is not refined classical form. This is someone's handicraft in a village, and it was designed to invoke inspiration and meditation with elements of Mexican folk art, which is what we're looking at right now. And it's got the right wear. You want this kind of stuff because it shows it's been used and adorned and in someone's home. Again, not a souvenir or decorative piece. This is used in a spiritual, devotional sense, and I just love it. And again, I don't want to say the word ugly, but it's got these, just the dimensions are off kilter, and the form is not perfect, but that's what makes it unique and special. This is a unique piece. There is not another one like this. There are similar ones, but nothing like this. How do I know? I've been scouring the globe via the internet looking, and this is the only one I've seen like this, because it's handmade by an artisan from a local village. This one I got for a steal. This was $100. And the larger the bulto, the more it's worth. This is worth probably around $400. In a gallery setting, maybe $600 to $800, and in the future, I believe over $1,000, quite easily, before I kick the bucket. because, again, the size is quite substantial. It's a focal point of a room. And I sometimes hang this on my front apple tree. I'll hang this just to display it proudly to my neighbors. So this is a folk artist rendition of Our Lady of Guadalupe. I don't want to get too much into the symbolism because that'll take hours to explain, but I love this. And again, the uglier the better. Can I say that about folk art? Because folk art is a distinct taste, and when you see it, you see it. And the ugliness, I think, is just uniqueness and a breakaway from refined classical form that you see in medieval and Baroque art. Almost we're stiff and almost too perfect. This is human. You can see the human hand behind this quite easily, and to me, that's what makes it gorgeous. The paint and it's three-dimensional, right? So I think that's the aesthetical vibe. I purchased another one of these that's on the way right now via eBay. For over a week I thought, well, should I buy it or should I not buy it? And I finally bought it, and I don't want to say ugly, but it's just unique. And the ugliness is just a breakaway from the classical European school of over refinement, if that makes sense. So that's her. This stays in my bedroom. When I wake up in the morning, I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube, but I don't watch Netflix and chill. This is how I chill. I stare at bultos. All right, let's move on. Okay, so I gotta talk about this now. Let me move the Quadro Rustico out of the way. Let's talk about this. This, if you know my channel, you might know I love bottles. I'm obsessed with bottles, and my wheelhouse is black glass bottles from the 17th and 18th century. So we're talking late 1600s and 1700s. This is a real pirate bottle. I've featured this extensively. I play this thing in the snow. I'm obsessed with this. This is one of my favorite objects. This might go in the coffin with me. This was discovered by a diver in Guyana, which is the northern tip of South America. I shoved a letter in there once as a pirate video thing, and I couldn't get it out. But it kind of highlights the tone of the bottle, so I let it sit. This is hand blown. There's no two bottles alike. This is a crude pontil, meaning that is the way it's supposed to be. It's kind of sharp, but that means it's old. The sag base was molten glass setting as it was made, so that sag is desirable, and the swirl is just captivating. The bulging neck. I love all these bottle terminologies. This string, this is where the cork would go inside. They tie a wire around it and affix to this lip, which is, in the process of making, it was a molten strip of glass. The artisan just wrapped around, and then it cooled and it stuck. And that's what it looks like, right? It's crude and rude and beautiful. I love glass. It's only dangerous when it's broken, right? Just like your heart. Look at this. So some drunkard was guzzling rum out of this on a wooden ship in the year 1750. They got done, and they're like, "Oh, I'm drunk, and this bottle's empty. I'm gonna throw it overboard." And it landed, luckily, into silt. And the silt it preserved it. It didn't break, and there it laid in the silt for 300 years or so, until a diver with the means and the keen eye to dive, and they found this. They were divers from the Netherlands. So when I bought this, it was from the Netherlands, and they're called Bottle Pro, a really good bottle dealer on eBay. You got to pay a little bit more, but you get things like this. I think this is like $300, and this is just a one-of-a-kind piece that I'm obsessed with. Probably a rum bottle. I mean, this is a pirate bottle, like Pirates of the Caribbean. This is the real deal. This is a pirate bottle. So when you see bottles of wine that are like that green color, it's an homage to this. This is like this muddy green, gray color. or muddy green, black color. It has to do with the iron content, and it helped preserve the content within. The shoulders on this is just a remarkable piece. I love this. The swirl, it's matte. These bubbles, it's very crude. I just love this thing. It's again this is buffalo hide. I using this because I don't want to break it, because under here is cement. If this thing breaks, I'm gonna freaking cry. I'll glue it, but I'll cry as I glue. And actually, this was repaired once by the diver out of the Netherlands. Somewhere on the lip, they repaired it. There was like a little chip, and I don't even know where it was. And I don't even care, because it's so awesome. And the fact that they did it that well is freaking amazing. But look at that bulge. This is amazing. That green, muddy green, stormy. This is in the ocean, or it was a riverbank, a silt riverbank in Guyana from let's say 1750 until I don't know, I think around the year 2000 they found this. Isn't it amazing that it didn't break? It's freaking amazing. Moving along. Naive art. I've discussed this. I have two pieces of naive art. Naive art is becoming more and more collectible, and it is what the name says. Naive means it's done by an artist that's not formally trained, but it's got conviction and character and some value too. This is a cat painting drinking milk on cardboard. I found this at a thrift store. This is not for sale yet. This hangs on the wall in our house. I think this is acrylic, could be oil, thinly applied oil on a wood frame, but this is great. I love that red blanket in the background. That's a nice choice by the artist, but it's done by an untrained artist. Sometimes proportions are not correct, perspectives, but that adds to the charm. And yes, these do sell. I do sell these things. People buy them. It's a legitimate genre of art, naive art. And this poodle, I just found this very recently, and I made a YouTube video about it. This is going to sell really quick. This already has, I think, 3 or 4 watchers. This is a poodle. This is oil. I'm going to guess 1950 or so. I'm asking $75, and it's going to sell fast. Because what happens is either folks that are into naive art just want this for what it is, or if someone had a poodle that looked like this and they want to make a memorial to their dog that maybe passed away, and this looks like the dog, so they'll buy this. So I believe that will be either the two buyers. Someone that has a dog or had a dog that looks like this, or a naive art collector. And this is a great naive piece. It just screams age, mid-century. Is it raining? If it rains, I'm going to freak out. I don't think it's raining. But this is a great example of naive art. The proportion's not quite right. You know what I mean? The perspective's not quite right, even though it's got a charm to it. And those eyes, look at those eyes, right? The coloring, the sky. So that's naive. This one's signed, this one's not. And usually these naive artists, we don't know who they are or who they were. But it's got conviction and character nonetheless. All right, let's move along. These are drumsticks, but not just drumsticks. These are signed by the late, great Jack DeJohnette. How do I know? Because me and my brother Scott went to a drum clinic at Guitar Center, I think around the year 2001, and we paid to go to watch and listen to Jack DeJohnette play and talk, and we learned, and then we stayed afterwards and had him sign these sticks, both of them. He passed away recently. He was a phenomenal drummer and piano player and composer. He's the drummer on Miles Davis' Bitches Brew. Those of you who know what that means, that's a big deal. Amongst other hundreds of albums. He's so musical. I spent years listening to Jack DeJohnette. His album Oneness, where he's playing piano. He's playing drums with Michael Brecker. I mean, there's just countless. I mean, if you know who he is, you know. If you don't know, go listen to an album with Jack DeJohnette, an American drummer and pianist. These were his signature drumsticks that drummers use because they're so well balanced and they feel great. And these are actually signed by him. These are the live signature. This is the corporate, stamp signature, but this is the real deal. I was very sad when he died. I'm a bass player, and one of my top artists that I wished to play with was Jack DeJohnette. I never got to, though. But listening to him via CD and record, I've learned so much. So these are Jack DeJohnette Vic Firth drum. Now the value of these, I don't know. I've just sentimentally and just from a musical idol point of view, they're priceless. I probably will sell these though one day, just because I can't keep everything, and I do believe if this can inspire someone else, then so be it. But these are, I just recently found these. These were tucked away. I'm happy I found those. Let's move along. I'm nervous about, I don't think it's raining, but I'm nervous. Look at this weird object. This is a very eclectic object. I featured this a while ago. What is it? I have no idea. Maybe you do. If you want this, if you must have this, let me know. Because I'm not sure if I'm going to sell this or not. It sits right now on my piano and it looks kind of cool. You could put like a fern in it. But this was made in 1938. And I'm guessing it was made by someone named G.R. It's quite interesting. It's made of pine. It's all handmade. This is like a buckhorn button. It's heavy. It's got a great face. It's kind of like a wood spirit. It's kind of like a vase or a mug. It's definitely one of a kind, right? You're not going to find another one of these around. This is folk art. I found this in Northeast Ohio, so I'm guessing it's from the area. I love how it's got the date, that green paint. 1938, so it's almost 100 years old, almost truly antique. You can count the circles on that log, but this is remarkable. I don't know, I kind of want to keep it, and I kind of want to sell it. If you need to have this, just let me know, and maybe we can make a deal. And I don't even know, I mean, this is like a folk art vase. I think it's a vase more than a cup, right? Because you put a fern in there, it's got a nice like sideshow Bob kind of aesthetic. And just the gnarliness, it looks cool on the piano, I must say. It looks kind of haunting and whimsical and folk arty all at the same time. And this is a truly unique piece. If you're into like unique stuff, again, we talked about folk art being kind of like ugly. If that's the right word. Well, this is kind of like that, right? It's kind of ugly and beautiful all at the same time. And that's what you pay for in folk art, that uniqueness and that ugly beauty, right? So that's that. Moving along to this, from wood to stone. I've featured this on my channel a few times. This is quite remarkable because it kind of hits home with me. Literally, this is from Ohio. This is from Cleveland, Ohio. This is a Native American axe, a fully grooved axe. And the closer you look at this, the more you can learn from the prior owners, because this was probably handed down from, I'm assuming, father to son for a long time, and it was used to process bone and wood. This is found in Cleveland. I bought this from a dedicated dealer of Native American objects. It's smooth where it should be, and I study these objects enough and I think about them a lot. It's quick to say, oh, look at this damage is there and there's damage there. It was probably dropped, but no. I believe this was done on purpose, because people were very smart who made this. The design, the form and functions, all on purpose. It was in between two pieces of wood, and to stabilize this, they would add shims within it. And you can actually see, if I can zoom in, this is tooled. It's not just, it wasn't just dropped. These are filed in from a harder stone. You can see the tooling marks. And what it was were these small pieces of wood, like a shim, were added in. There was leather or sinew, like deer muscle fiber wrapped around this, and they would add these little wood shims to stabilize the axe head because it would get loose as they used it. So always take a closer look and use your imagination with these stone relics, because it was damaged, it was dropped. No, that was done on purpose for design. This is called greenstone. I bought this for a few reasons, because it looks great on the shelf. I love Native American works like this. It's an amazing part of human culture. And this is greenstone, so I'm training my eye, because when I go out looking for these things in my neck of the woods, I want to know, the first telltale sign is the color of the stone, because this might be hidden in the ground like this, and then you take a closer look. Oh, the stone could be something, and you pull it out, and you're like, oh, it is. So I'm training my eye to look for this kind of stone. It's called greenstone, and it's found in this area. So this is an amazing object that I love just to look at as I go through my day. Completely shifting gears to 1980s gross out toys. Talk about eclectic. This is a breath blaster. I had one of these as a kid. 1987, I think. Pardon me, 1986. Proudly made in the USA by Axlon. These are quite legendary. These are prime wheelhouse gross out toys, which are very collectible. Folks my age, these were great and hideous at the same time, because inside they had some kind of chemical to, when you did this, squeeze it, it made a stink. It smelled like death. This is like the hungover mom, like, what the dog? Kind of, angry hungover mom with curling irons in her hair, bloodshot eyes, and the toenail. This is nasty. I love it though. I had a skull one, like a Grim Reaper one, and I got this on eBay a couple of years ago. There's a legend about these that they were deemed illegal because they were toxic, but they weren't. I did a lot of research. There was just some like democratic group against like ugly toys that wanted to get rid of these just because they were ugly and kind of gross, but they were never like pulled from the shelf and deemed like toxic. They were just, that was like a legend. But they are gross, and they did stink. I mean, it did smell like death. I don't know how they did that, but it literally was, you'd put up to your brother's nostril, like, hey, smell this. It'd like force it upon a smaller sibling. And that's what they're designed for. They were designed to be shoved into your sibling's nostril and squeeze this death smell. That's what they were meant to do. And it's a miracle they survived. This one is not painted on the back. This was like $30. It's worth more than that though. It's a relic of a bygone era. Axlon breath blasters. Kind of like a Madball kind of thing, right? With a twist. These back here, honorable mention. These are my stools of service. You can just see the method to my madness. I just got possessed to do all these. There's more back there. They're like, I stack them. I list things on them. I just kind of went off and would just free associate on these stools. I like small cricket stools, and I acquire these throughout. That's my YouTube store, or pardon me, my eBay store, Vintage Eclectic Solutions. I'm not selling these. If you want one, let me know. I guess I could sell one, but I use these to list things on. I just stack them in the yard to make the neighbors wonder what's going on in my brain. My family members sit upon these occasionally. I don't know what to say about them. They're quite busy with just things that pop into my head. This is like an old shoe shine kit. Hello. Kaboom. Just kidding. My service stools. Just my mottos of service. Okay for you, yes. But I guess part of the influence was when I was living in China, there was shoe shine people that would shoe shine, which is like a lost art or a lost profession. for better or for worse, on the streets, and they would have these stools that were kind of colorful, and I just kind of mimicked that, I guess, to some extent. So these are my service stools, and they're getting weathered, as you can see. That one's getting really chippy paint because they're outside all year. I need to put some kind of sealant on these, otherwise they'll just be lost and they'll become just plain wood again. But those are my service stools. And then we have these two, last but not least. So those of you who know my channel may know that I obsess over baseball gloves. It's kind of like my ADHD autism obsession, and part of that ADHD autism within me likes to put things in categories. It makes me feel satisfied and complete. I like to get baseball gloves from the oldest design to the newest, and like by year increments. I have more of these. Sadly, I had to sell a few when money got tight a couple years ago that I regret. But something inside me, which I guess is that autism, likes to put things in categories or timelines. And being an antique dealer, it really kind of feeds that flame and in some ways satisfies that flame, or at least gives me an excuse to do so. And so let me explain. So this is a great old glove from around, I'm going to say 1910 or 1908. This is a full web, split finger, AJ Reach baseball glove, adult size. This is like a deluxe model, butter soft. This is like a prize item. I have people across the country like wanting to buy this off me, and I'm not going to sell it. AJ Reach, that Philadelphia mark. Now, this is a very important little telltale sign. How do I know the age? Well, in the USA, after 1905, you had to add this verbiage, this regulation, U.S. Patent Office. So you know, if your baseball glove has that verbiage on there, it's after 1905. So this glove is probably from, again, 1910, 1915, probably at the latest. It's butter soft. It's a deluxe model. This is just a gorgeous freaking glove. It's floppy, honking. I love this thing. I love this. It sits on my wall. I got it on Etsy a few years ago, and it's worth a lot more than I paid for it. And this thing is my newest acquisition. I need to remove this white. It's called Horseman's One Step. It's a saddle finish that conditions the leather. This is a gem. This is a very old, very desirable, rare baseball glove from, my guesstimate is 1898. This is a crescent. It's called a crescent pad because this is a crescent pad that was designed to help you catch the ball better. Because back then you would hold the glove and catch the ball like this, like underhanded, and this would help stop the ball. That's how old-timey this is, and it makes it really valuable. Then this, see how it says down there, Philly, and there's no patented regulation verbiage. So this is from before 1905. My research says around 1898 or so. Maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But I'm going to deem this 1890s. Can you believe that? I got this on eBay recently for $240, and it's worth a lot more than that. The seller didn't show this side. In the listing, it was shown as this, which is a good glove. But had they shown it like this, the auction would have gone a lot higher, and I probably wouldn't have been able to afford it. So I kind of got lucky. This is worth a lot more than $250. This is great. It's a smaller size, but a super rare and desirable glove. I'm stoked to have this because my brain wants me to find the oldest gloves possible. So like the list, I mean, it's would be like this one, and then an older one, and a newer one. Like that satisfies my brain. And if it's like this constant quest. So even though like I'm not in my full antique baseball glove obsession right now, that's my ADHD, like these obsessions of specific things. But I had the foresight to know that I should buy this, because if I don't buy this, I probably won't be able to afford one. So it was kind of like, all right, just buy this now for my future obsession, my future hyper focus, if that makes sense. So I did it. I'm happy I pulled the trigger because, again, these things are desirable collectors go batty for these things because they're just rare. You have guys with a lot of money. You have probably professional baseball players that collect these things. So it's hard to get these things for the right price. I'm a humble antique dealing bass player with limited means, a bunch of kids. So the fact that I got this for that price is outstanding. I put this on my wall and I marvel at it. It waves back at me, and I'm a happy camper. So I got to find an older one, and then I'll maybe be satisfied. But until then, that's it. That's been a look at the eclectic mix of E.J. Parker. There's a lot more in store. So if you like this, let me know. As always, thanks for checking in.